I'm about to touch a 1 kilogram sphere of silicon-28 atoms. There are about 2.15 times 10 to the 25 of them. Oh. It feels absolutely incredible. Wow, that is amazing. Besides its creators, I am one of only a handful of people ever to hold this sphere. The raw material used to make it was worth 1 million euros, but now that it has been so precisely sculpted, how much is that worth?
It's priceless. This you are looking at now is the roundest object in the world.
How can you say for sure that it's the roundest object? I mean, the Earth is pretty round, isn't it?
If this was the Earth...
If this were the Earth, then the highest mountain and the lowest valley would be...
about 14 meters apart.
That is shocking. Here you have a physical object, and it's beautiful, but, you know, it's still a physical object. You're trying to get away from that. We're
trying to get away from the physical object, but what we're doing with this particular object is counting how many atoms are in there.
You can't actually count how many are in there, can you?
You can't count how many are in there, but you can calculate how many are in there because this material is silicon. There's no voids or dislocations.
So this is like a perfect crystal of silicon.
That's right.
Not only is it pure silicon, it contains only one isotope of silicon, silicon-28. And that explains why the original material was so expensive. And why a sphere?
Well, a sphere is a pretty simple object. If you know the diameter of the sphere, you can characterize the entire dimension of the object.
Well, that explains why the sphere has to be the roundest object ever created. But how do you actually make something that round?
We actually start with an oversized sphere. So it was about 2 millimeters larger in diameter. And then we just grind it progressively finer and finer using abrasive. It's actually massaging atoms. You're down at that level of trying to control the shape of an object down at the atomic level.
But making the sphere is only half the battle. Then you need to accurately measure its diameter.
The diameter is actually measured by a laser. So you're actually measuring having the sphere in the center of a cavity, and a laser is hitting both sides, and you're actually measuring the gap.
By knowing the diameter, you can determine its volume. And since the atom spacing of silicon is known to high precision, you can then calculate how many atoms make up the sphere. This allows you to redefine Avogadro's constant. At the moment, Avogadro's constant is defined based on the kilogram. It is equal to the number of atoms in 12 grams of carbon-12. But using this approach, the number of silicon atoms in the sphere would be used to fix Avogadro's constant, which would then define the kilogram. So even if the silicon spheres were lost or damaged, it would have no effect on the definition of the kilogram, because it would be defined not by a physical object, but by a concept. You would like to see the official definition of the kilogram say, a kilogram is the mass of 2.15 times 10 to the 25 silicon-28 atoms.
Yes.